Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another One Piece manga review. This is chapter, I believe, 1020. Yeah,
Yep.
chapter 1020, Robin versus Black Maria. My name is Lyn and Burton, joined by my co-host, as always, Mr. Christian Hollinger. Look, we called it. We're on the versus portion of this arc, so I'm enjoying it. How you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, same. Not, and I'll say this: this chapter was super solid in the sense that the Jinbei Who's Who gave us some backstory into Who's Who, which was cool. Sasaki and Frankie was a weak last week. It just was. And I think this week with the reveal of Yamato's Devil Fruit and then seeing Luffy, I think that bolstered this chapter. But just in general, Black Maria, I don't want to say was more interesting, but Robin herself was more interesting with Brooke than Frankie was by himself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to get in depth a little bit more with this later, but Robin's whole scenario actually plays on her character. Frankie's is just like a fight. Like, there's no lore behind it. There's no interesting way to combine his past or, just his mindset. It's just, this is an opponent. He's about the same level as me. We got to scrap it out.
And they both have armor. Like, he has the Triceratops armor, and then Frankie has the armored Shogun. That's like the only like real thing you can do.
I mean, technically, it's like what isn't like Frankie's motorcycle in the shape of a rhino? So it's like rhino, Triceratops. It's there.
It's trying to make the connection, but like you said, this one more so works really well, and I like the inclusion of Brooke as well. But let's get into it. The way we do this is give a brief synopsis, then we go through each part of the chapter and do themes. So basically, this chapter starts off with Yamato and Kaido fighting. We finally figure out his devil fruit. We even see, which I'm going to ask you when we discuss this, Blast breath combined with Yamato's breath. Was that fire? Was that ice? I'm leaning to think that Yamato shot out some ice, maybe, and that's why that. But we'll get into that. We then jump into Robin and Brooke versus Black Maria. We get into their fight. Super dope fight. Then the chapter ends with Luffy and Momo talking about how, Momo, you got to take Luffy back up to Onigashima as a dragon. So let's start in the beginning, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So what'd you think of Yamato? Because that blast to me looked like ice. I thought it was. It could have been fire, but just the way that he drew it and the way that like it dissipated, I thought it was some form of cold ice breath.
Yeah, the art style where Kaido's was shown as black and Yamato's is shown as white. One artistically shows that they're opposites, but then the name of it is Glacier Bang.
Yeah.
So it's definitely ice. The fan translation and the official both kept that glacier reference. So in my opinion, there's no doubt that that's an ice-based attack.
I'm thinking Yamato's Devil Fruit now. At first, I wasn't, just from how it looked, but that she's this ice dog. I like it. Now the Discord was in disarray this week because they were like, Yamato shouldn't join the Straw Hats. She's Odin. Odin's here to just protect. But I'm like, we're forgetting that Yamato is like Odin in the sense that he was held prisoner by his dad, and it's like, dude wants to escape. I don't see Yamato sticking around and protecting Wano for the rest of his life. I just don't see that.
I don't see it either. I'm a part of the fandom that right now, I wouldn't say that Yamato is confused, but I genuinely get the feeling that Yamato is out here just playing pretend. And she's already, or he's already, whatever, pronouns you want to use for this person, has already said that Luffy's more Odin than she is. So I just don't believe that she's going to be sticking around with that. And didn't she already say that she was going to be selling the seas with Luffy?
That's what Yamato said. The dream was that he had. So it's like it's like as much as like he's Odin, it's like she still has her own dreams. Like, so it's like that's why I feel like it's maybe not Nakama, but definitely going on the voyage, like in the same way Odin did.
If Vivi is a Nakama and a Straw Hat, then Yamato / Odin is that. And at the end of the day, Odin got on those two ships. So
exactly. And
it's going to happen. We don't have a Zoan unless you count Chopper being the inverse of a Zoan, essentially.
But now
So
we got a real one. If Yamato joins, but again, love the fight with her pops. It was dope. In Garden Deity, I want to know more about the rare mythical wolf. So excited to see that fight continue. But it's setting up something. I'm gonna say what it's setting up for the end. Me and Christian had a heated discussion about that in pre-pro. But let's get to basically the Robin fight. I love the flashback and then seeing Robin be strong. And it's like, nah, bro, I know this is a sham. I'm just playing along with it for a little bit.
Right.
Robin's dope. Like, she's nothing like Nami. Like, Robin is not a weakling. And like, man, every time I see Robin, it just brings me joy because it really sucks how weak Nami and Usopp are. Like, I think Robin's stronger than Usopp too.
I mean, I've been kind of speculating that Robin is way higher than what she shows, and I really got that sense in Dressrosa when she effortlessly caught Hakuba. Like when Cavendish turned into Hakuba, we saw that like his speed couldn't even be followed by the people in the Coliseum. He was effortlessly one-shotting people, and Robin catches him and says, like, it doesn't really matter how fast you are, I can still catch you. And it's like, is that like foreshadowing to the point where like maybe she'll be able to catch Kizaru someday? Like, how, like, what are the limits of that? And then as I've been watching her in Wano, I'm like, her abilities have so much creativity to it because she straight up made a shadow clone when she was infiltrating the Orochi's private quarters before the Oni Wambanshu caught on to her, or whoever Fukurokujo's ninja, I keep forgetting the names. But before they caught up, she literally made a clone of herself. And so in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, Robin, from what we've seen, because unfortunately she pretty much just uses like clutch or anything else. Like anytime you see her battling, her arms are folded and she's basically breaking someone's spine or neck or something like that. She's not really doing too much. Or she'll use like Giganto Mano, where she just makes giant hands or giant legs and just stomps all over the battlefield. So it's like I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, Oda definitely has this woman in the background. He's not really showing a lot of diversity yet. Why is that? Then I think of one of my favorite Robin moments was on Sky Island when she was separated from the rest of the Straw Hats. Don't remember this guy because he was kind of fodder, but he was up there destroying ancient Skypean history. And this is the only other time that we've seen Robin actually get pissed off. And she brutally murders the guy. Like, if I remember correctly, I think she breaks all of his limbs, breaks his back, and then throws him off of a cliff. So, I mean, like, there's no question about it. Robin straight up murdered that guy for destroying history. And so as soon as I saw that she was pissed off that Black Maria was messing with Sanji and we saw that glare, I was like, okay, she's here. She's about to show out for real.
And she was like, Brooke, leave her to me. And it was like, oh, shit. Is Robin as strong as Brooke and Frankie? Because I feel like all three of them are even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I probably have to like rearrange my power rankings. I've always wanted to put Robin a little bit higher, but until she showcased it, I couldn't. Now I'm definitely feeling like, without a doubt, she's Frankie level.
Like
no question.
Frankie might be a little bit stronger than her, but I got her and Brooke as what for what.
I mean, it depends though, because it depends on how Robin wants to use her devil fruit. Like we've seen that she can spawn body parts anywhere. So for all we know, while she's, if in a hypothetical where she's fighting General Frankie, she could probably just spawn herself inside of General Frankie and attack Frankie. If she,
it just depends.
Her ability.
And then she can make the gigantic version of her. I'm ready to see what this thing can do. Like, this is basically, it reminds me of Neteros Buddha mode, where he's just sending out the freaking palm. So Robin's looking pretty badass.
Another illusion that I've always liked is Zoro has Asura. Robin in her base looks like, the deity Ashura because she can give herself 9, arms. She could give herself 3 heads if she wants to. So she can like literally emulate the same thing. So when I was seeing, okay, as soon as we got to Wano and she made an actual clone, I was like, okay, if she can make giant arms and giant legs, and she can also make a full body clone, then she can make a giant clone. And so it's like, yo, when is she gonna do that? And then when I saw that she was gonna be paired up with Black Maria, a giant, I'm like, there's no question about
An
it. At some
8-legged
point,
giant to fight her
she's
8
going,
arms.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
And this chapter showcases the symbolism between Black Maria and Robin very well. But to start off where it's at, again, the thing that I also love about Robin is her intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
The saying, you have to fool your closest friends to fool your enemies. So she's playing along with this scheme so that they don't, say, okay, well, this
Suspect
mist is
anything.
completely useless. So
Yeah.
we're going to try a different strategy. She said, okay, I'm going to fall for this so that you guys let your guard down,
And I'm gonna
walk up
just
straight into your
slap y'all.
range, and then smack y'all. And to your point, Frankie one-shot a giant earlier, a number. Robin did not one-shot the giant because we did see that the giant was still up and moving later, but she did do significant damage to that giant quite easily. So I was, I did like that we got to see Robin's mother, Professor Clover, and Saul again, even though it was a warped sense. I think Robin allowed that moment where she was saying, okay, I'm going to take the positives in this. Like, at least I get to see them for a moment, but I'm definitely not falling for it. But it is nice to be able to see their visages again.
See, I forgot to ask you this in pre-pro, but everyone knows the Joy Boy theory that's going around about the dead will come back at some point. Is this an allusion to maybe that coming along with Momonosuke at the end, or should we wait to talk about that with Momonosuke at the end with Kinemon? Because the way Luffy shrugged it off, Kinemon might be dead. Like Luffy's like, we can't deal with that now.
It depends, because at this point there is a lot of credence to that theory. I mean, Kanjuro has brought up Odin twice now, who's been dead.
We got this.
I don't count this one, but I remember who was it? It was one world. What's his name? Is it New World Review? I forgot his YouTube name, but he was thinking that Hiyori was actually Toki. I didn't buy that for a second.
I don't buy that one.
Ever. I never bought that theory. But you have that. You have via the mist. You've got Robin seeing dead people. So there is this motif of dead people being brought back in various means. So I can see it.
Let me just ask you: are we gonna see Ace when Luffy delivers the grand punch to Kaido? Like that's what we need to know.
I am perfectly fine with a visual behind him, meaning that he's thinking of Ace. I have no problem with Yamato thinking of Ace, but Ace himself?
No, yeah, keep him.
Hell no.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Hell no.
Keep that bum in the ground. I just had to ask.
Flashback, some type of like spiritual conversation? Sure. Ace himself? Hell no.
I just had to ask. It'll probably be like some spirit form, like in a way how this was. But yeah, just had to bring that up. Also, gotta shout out Brooke for realizing that her weapon had a soul and basically cold souled him, knocked his ass out.
And I think we called that too. Like, as soon as we saw the matchups and we saw that her weapon seemed to be alive, it's like, okay, does it have a soul? If it does, that's an easy Brooke counter. And that's exactly what we saw here. Brooke immediately countered that and took it out.
Yep, and then taking the fodder, man.
But to your point about Yamato, joining or not joining, I am a little bit on the fence now that I believe that her breath was ice breath, because it's like Brooke is an ice user, so do we need another one? But then it's like, that's fine because Sanji's a flame user and so is Luffy. So
and Zoro can cut flames, so like
Zoro can cut flames, and then the
kind
anime
of
is
use
giving him an effect of he burns things with the cut.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm not mad at that.
But that actually goes into a theory that I have, which is that every conqueror can use lightning and fire based attacks. So that could just be an extension of Odin and Zoro both having conquerors. So that's why the flames happen. But
So you think that's an effect of having conquerors, huh? The
Yeah,
flames.
because like, okay, so
So
Big Mom.
no, I feel you. No, I feel you. So
I mean,
what does Diablo John play?
it's a flame-based attack.
Okay, I just
No,
want
no, no.
to.
Okay, I mean, you really don't want to go there because
I
Sanji
don't.
has
I just
no
was. I was just
lightning-based
trying to joke.
attacks.
I was just trying to.
All right, I'm just saying. Like we will, like this the same criticism that people were giving Zoro. It's like Sanji's never even shown a glimpse of Conqueror's High. Not even a glimpse. That would be so out of left field at this point. So out of left field. But yeah.
We're supposed to be giving my man Sanji praise because Robin gave him the utmost. Called my man the wings of Pirate King. Loved it. Loved it.
And again, I love that interaction as well because when Robin snaps back at Black Maria and basically says, like, you don't need to understand the significance behind what happened. Again, I've been saying that for better or worse, Sanji and Robin have been integrally linked. And I'm not trying to bring this up to slander Sanji in any way. But my first initial reaction when he ran off to Whole Cake Island to deal with what he was dealing with, I was somewhat disappointed because I'm like, you're kind of making the same mistake Robin made. Like, I get that you have a sense of urgency, so you have to leave immediately. You don't necessarily have time to talk to Luffy and tell him what's going on. But you had to know that Luffy's not going to let you go through stuff by yourself. He's going to fight the entire world and whoever to help out his crew. So I felt like Sanji was making that sacrifice for the rest of the crew the same way that Robin did. So it's poetic that when he gets to Wano and he faces off with someone, he calls out for Robin in the same way that Robin said, I want to live. So you have that symbolism. And then again, you have Black Maria talking hella shit, talking about your only, baggage, your only,
he's the laughing stock of Onigashima. Like,
well, even before that, it's like she's sitting here, she has no idea what happened with Eni's lobby. Like, I'm sure the world knows that, the Straw Hats attacked Eni's lobby, but they don't know the details that they went there to save Robin, who already sacrificed herself. So Black Maria has no idea that at one point Robin did view herself as nothing but baggage to the Straw Hats. She did view herself as someone who deserved to be thrown away to save the Straw Hats. So she's saying, I've already gone through that. Your point did have merit pre-time skip when I was thinking that way, but I've overcome that. I've moved beyond that, and you have no idea what you're talking about. Sanji did this because it empowers me. Sanji did this because he trusts me. Sanji did this because he knows I can beat you and he's not turning me in. So you have no idea what you're talking about, and you are about to get your comeuppance.
Yeah, you're about to get smacked.
I actually like the fan translation a little bit better with the Brooke and Robin moment because in this official dub, Brooke is laughing. That's Sanji. He really, split my seam laughing. And Brooke is saying, like, I get it because I know what Sanji's doing and I'm placating into what you're saying. Like, sure, yeah, that was really funny, but not for the reason that you're thinking.
Yeah.
But then he turns and in the official, he says, Robin, do you quite mind if I leave her to you? Whereas in the official, he was like, I'm assuming you want to handle the rest of this, right? And she's like, yeah, thanks for understanding. So the way I feel about this is Brooke knows you've just crossed
a line,
you've been crossed the line, but now you really crossed the line. Like Robin just snaps, I can feel it. You know what, Robin? You 1v1 her. Be as cruel as you want to.
And whoop her ass,
I know it. I'm not even gonna this is your vengeance, this is your thing. I'm gonna sit back.
And unlike Sasaki and Frankie, I want to see this next week.
Yes.
And that's like I want to see Robin just whoop his ass. Like we got 2 weeks of Jinbei and Who's Who. We should get another week of this. And when we get into our predictions, that's something I definitely want to see. But everything you said, I loved. And shout out to my boy Sanji, the wings. I see you, boy.
Without a doubt.
I see you. Oda said y'all better stop slandering. And for those out there, including this clown, saying that Sanji is a wing and Zoro's his own person. Zoro's the sword of the Pirate King. Let's just call it what it is. Man thinks Zoro's his own thing. Like, that's so messed up. That's so
Luffy is the protagonist. Zoro is the deuteragonist, or whatever you pronounce that, okay? Sanji does not have a goal. Meeting the All Blue can be accomplished.
How that's not a goal? How that's not a goal?
Because it's a passive goal. He doesn't have to train for it. All he has to do is cook on the Sunny, and someday, guess what? Nami's going to be like, hey, we're in the All Blue. Oh, your dream just came true.
But you know,
passively. Passively.
All right, you already know the All Blue more than likely is when we're going to destroy the red lines and all the seas connect. If we believe that, then he got to be on the crew to get that done. He can't just be on any crew to get that.
I'm sorry, but One Piece filler has already destroyed that, because if we go back to Water 7, Sanji ran into a chef who had salt from the All Blue and had fish from the All Blue. The All Blue already exists.
That's
you
true.
just got to find it. So I did listen to some theories where people are saying that Luffy's dream and Sanji's dream are effectively similar because they're both searching for some place that already exists that's mythological, essentially. So there is that, and I am kind of playing here, but at the same time, you know, Sanji is the wings because he is someone who is helping Luffy accomplish his goal. Zoro is someone who is accomplishing his own goal while also helping Luffy accomplish his goal.
Sword, because the sword can kill, and the sword kills itself, and you kill using the sword. The sword can cut you if you don't use it right. It's doing its own, because the sword has its own will.
When does Luffy use Zoro? No.
The sword has its own will.
No. Luffy is his own being, and the other Straw Hats are parts of him.
My man Zoro.
And Zoro's his own.
He's the second best on the Straw Hats. We know that. I'm not one of these people that says Sanji's second. No, Sanji's clearly third. He's the wings, Zoro's the sword.
This chapter is even poking fun at it, with Black Maria being as clueless as she is, talking about Sanji's the number 2. Which, again, because I'm a Zoro stan, I have to remind you, Zoro's bounty is based off of merit. Sanji's bounty is based off his last name. Okay?
You still heard about that bounty? That's crazy.
I'm not heard about the bounty, because as soon as Wano is done,
he's gonna be a billion. He's gonna be a billion player. Now,
I believe that when Sanji beats Queen, he deserves a billion berry bounty.
Zoro's
okay? I completely believe that. All I'm saying is Zoro's bounty is based off of merit. Sanji's is based off of his name. Not only that, but I'm not hurt because Zoro already won with Hiyori. Sanji's already saying, why did you go to him? My bounty's bigger. Because it's meaningless, Sanji. Nobody cares. On top of that, when you said it to Zoro, what happened? He scared your ass clean because he cut your cigarette and the cliff.
He can't be nice about my man Lee. Like, jeez.
Had him sweating.
Ladies and gentlemen, see how these Zoro fans come? You see?
But I'm not here to slander Sanji. This chapter is here to lift Sanji. He is the wings. That is a very dope way of explaining it.
That's so shady how you just said that.
Sanji has skywalk, so of course, you know, he can fly in the sky. You know,
we go back to
Island. He grabbed Luffy. He had Luffy in the sky. Failed to protect him anyway because they still knocked Sanji and Luffy back down to the ground. But I get it. He's the wings.
There he goes. Look at him. I got him riled up. But for real, the Robin stuff, grade A.
Yeah.
Really grade A. So I want to see more of that. I know you do as well. And that's pretty much the fight, unless you got anything else on the Robin.
I mean, the only other thing that I also liked is, again, the way that Robin used Spider Net. I like the fact that she's facing off with a spider and she used Spider Net. But the last time that we saw Spider Net, she used it to catch Law when Law's arm got severed. So again, when I talk about the creativity here,
she used it like Spider-Man, for real.
Hey, that's exactly what I was about to say. Robin has so much versatility, and that's why I'm so glad that she's getting shined on, because when you really want to think about how she could use her devil fruit, she can use it in so many ways. She can create wings herself with her hands. You know, if you want to talk about Spider-Man, she's never done this, Like, let's say she's on a building and she wants to literally web sling.
Oh,
She
she
could
gets
just
arms, yeah.
spawn her arms, grab onto the building, and then literally, like, her possibilities are practically endless because she can do whatever she wants pretty much. So
That's a fact.
it's absolutely excellent. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers the Black Maria and
Robin
Robin
fight.
scenario for this
Now
week.
the next thing is just Luffy and Momo in
Yeah.
Tokage Port. And Luffy's like, yo, you got to bring me up there. But there's three things about this.
All right.
Momo saying that what about Kinemon, and Luffy saying don't start crying before we're done,
Yeah.
hold it in until later. That's huge. That tells
Yeah.
me Kinemon really might be dead. The second
Yeah.
thing is Caribou. What's that slimy bastard doing just sitting there just watching? And then the third thing, the Legend of Momotaro.
Yeah. Legend of Momotaro at this point, it's undeniable. I mean, you've got Momonosuke Momotaro, you've got the
Yamato the
dog, the
dog,
pheasant, the monkey,
which is
you
Luffy.
got
The only
Monkey
thing
D.
that
Luffy.
the pheasant with Marco, that's the only thing that's
That's a
up for
little shaky, but again, Oda never just one-to-one copies something. He always tweaks something. So Marco has been very important to this plot line of opening up Wano. He had a relationship with Odin himself. So he's integrally tied into this scenario already. However, kind of what we were talking about before, I don't think it's going to be a scenario where it's Momonosuke, Luffy,
Yamato
Yamato,
and
and
Marco
Marco
fighting
versus
Kaido.
Kaido. I don't see that.
And that's where I could see Zoro coming in because, like we talked about off air,
Yeah.
what you said, White Tiger versus the Dragon. And instead
Yeah.
of having the pheasant, you could have the White Tiger there if Zoro comes in. I can see that because just I don't see Marco leaving King and Zoro's like, yeah, I'll take this on for you. He's like, yeah, I'll go up after we saw Marco be like, bro, you shouldn't be down here, like you always said.
Right.
And we just went through reading, and I literally read that line in what we were looking for talking off air. We don't have to talk about that right now, but I just I don't see Marco being the person to finish Kaido with Luffy and Yamato and Momonosuke.
And what we were talking about in the pre-program here was we're talking about how what King represents for Zoro's progression has already been accomplished by Kaido. To oversimplify both of these characters, they're both characters who are weapon users, have the ability to produce flames, and have the ability to fly.
Right.
So for a while, especially even myself, before we even got Roof Piece, I thought that King would in fact be a good matchup for Zoro because Zoro has never really had to face off with someone who uses flight as well. I mean, you could say, okay, well, he fought Monet back in Punk
But flight
Hazard.
and swords with it's different. I get what you mean.
I mean, she had like a weapon because she did use the spears, but it was never even a question of if that was a challenge.
Yeah.
Ever. Monet admitted it. She was like, I don't stand a chance against you. So it was never, ever there. King, on the other hand, was a legitimate flying threat. And I didn't know that Zoro perfected, his flame slicing. So it's like maybe he can figure out how to cut flames by fighting King. But when Oda decided to put Zoro on the rooftop
that
and have
changed the
him face
stage.
off,
Yeah, it changed everything.
Changed the stage. It doesn't make sense to downgrade his opponent. It doesn't make sense to give Zoro, who just got a miracle cure, which means that for all intents and purposes, he should be back at close to full capacity to go
85
take
worst
down
case.
King, who has been getting beat by Marco this time.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense. And then, of course, I can make other parallels. Like I said, the last time that Momonosuke turned into a dragon and brought Luffy up, it was during the same arc that Luffy and Zoro faced off against a dragon. And I actually reread that chapter.
Yeah, you shocked me with this.
It is, but it's not even just that. The things that Luffy and Zoro both say while facing that dragon are effectively the same things that they say about Kaido. There's a scene where Luffy punches the dragon and he's like, I didn't do any damage because its hide is too thick. Zoro tries cutting it. He's like, oh my God, like I can barely cut this thing. And it's like, okay, we're talking about Kaido. Nobody can really damage Kaido. So it's like there's definitely parallels here. So the last time Momonosuke brought Luffy up from falling, which he literally did, he fell into a trash heap, and then Momonosuke had to ride him all the way back up. It's the same arc that they defeated the dragon. And in this sense, Luffy says specifically, none of this is finished until I smash Kaido. And the panel that I posted on Twitter is Zoro and Luffy are facing off with the dragon, and Zoro says, "Let me handle this, Luffy." Luffy says, "Okay, I'll smash the dragon. I'll knock the dragon down for you." So when I think of, I believe it was 1000, the first interaction that Luffy had with Kaido is he jumped above Kaido and smashed him downwards. So I believe that the culmination will be, whether it's Yamato and Momonosuke are present, Luffy's going to, probably do most of the damage, but Luffy isn't one to kill.
Zoro's gonna kill
Luffy
him.
is going to knock Kaido down, and Zoro's going to make sure that Kaido doesn't get back up.
Ishi song him straight across the fucking
that. I mean, I don't know what he's going to use.
That was just my joke because I could see Luffy elephant gunning him downward, and then like Zoro. That'd be a great combo. I'd fuck with that.
That's what I'm feeling. But again, I am, as you all know, kind of biased when it comes to Zoro. I believe that.
Oh, they could tell this episode. If the ones previous didn't tell them, this one did.
I know. I could ramble on about that, but that's just kind of where I'm at with that. Now, to kind of briefly talk about what you're talking about with the deaths.
Yeah, is Kinemon dead?
I definitely think he's dead, but I also think that this is Luffy's maturity as someone who's dealt with a very painful death. He's telling Momonosuke, you don't have time to think about that.
Yeah, dealing with Ace.
Luffy's also very close to Kinemon. So Luffy's saying, look, I don't know what you're about to say. Don't even tell me, because when I dealt with Ace's death, I allowed myself to be very encompassed by what that meant and dealing with that. Don't even think about that right now. We have something we need to take care of. Perhaps Kinemon's dead. Maybe someone came and healed him. We don't know. But he's saying you can't afford to focus on that right now. So I think that is, it may be some kind of reference to Kinemon coming back in some special way. I'm not sold on Kinemon coming back, but with these multiple examples of people who are dead showing up, whether it be Kanjuro bringing back Kazuki Odin, if it's Robin's deceased loved ones, we've seen evidence that people who are dead come back. Orochi got killed. He came back. Apparently, he died again due to the scabbards. Still don't think he's per se dead yet.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Now, there is another thing that I thought about, which may or may not go to your point and completely destroy my point. I still don't know. I'm sure Denjiro, if he's still around, is going to be protecting Hiyori, but I could see Zoro getting distracted and maybe staying on the live floor if he runs into Hiyori. So if there's a situation where King attacks Hiyori or something,
Zoro, I wouldn't want that. I'm with you on that. That's a Denjiro thing. I
kind of hope that's Denjiro, but I can still see that.
I can see it for sure.
But I hope Denjiro takes care of that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with this.
And that's pretty much everything this week, really. Because
I just like the way that this is wrapped up, though, because Momonosuke at this point still has not overcome his fear of heights. And last time we saw that Momo turned into a dragon due to his fear of Doflamingo. So
you remember how we always said what would Momo's thing be? I think this is his thing. Flying Luffy up, overcoming his fear. And I now am switched to believe Yamato's thing is going to be to save Onigashima from falling. I think that's going to be Yamato's thing while Luffy fights Kaido, because they said that the dog, I saw people on Twitter saying that the dog that she is can create clouds. So if that's the case, that's going to be her thing. I could be wrong about that. If the thing can create clouds, then that's where I'm thinking she's gonna be used, because I don't think Momo can do it at this point, and I feel like this is his grand thing. Like, can he fly Luffy back up to the top?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe he can. I don't know. I definitely doubt that's going to happen next chapter.
Yeah.
Nor would it be something that's going to be easy for him, because again, when I was rereading Punk Hazard, Momo looked like he almost passed out whenever he did it. Like his eyes were the swirls. He was
And it
freaking
hasn't
out.
been that long since then. So like, let's not act like this is Momo's grown that much, but he has,
Right.
and that's why this is such a big test for him.
Right. I mean, he's definitely shown that he's grown with the Chondro situation where he got kidnapped and he realized, okay, I have to grow. I have to take care of myself. So it's there. We see him struggling, but it does seem like he's taking Luffy's words to heart and he's saying, okay, it's going to be tough. Shinobu's like, why are you being so tough on him? But I feel like Momonosuke is definitely, no pun intended, going to rise to the challenge.
Oh, for sure.
I just don't know how yet, because he hasn't necessarily shown a very strong control of his devil fruit power. But I absolutely believe he's going to bring Luffy back up. I don't see another way outside of course, Luffy using Gear 4 and then just flying himself back up. But it makes sense that Luffy is still trying to conserve energy.
The way I'm using that is he's trying to store up his hockey and he's like, yo, Momo, fly me, so I don't have to use it unnecessarily. That's because you're absolutely right. That's the other thing, because Luffy could fly himself back up there.
Yeah. It's that, and again, that's who Luffy is. Luffy does bring out the best in other people. So even though he could do that, he's saying, no, Momonosuke,
you need to do this.
You need to do this. You are the leader. He's been saying that to Momo way since Zoe, where he said, look, Kinemon and the rest of these guys,
you gotta ask me.
They've asked me. I'm ready, but you haven't said anything. Again, in Udon, you're here. These people are waiting for you. I can say this, but it's on you. So again, I think that Luffy is putting that pressure on Momo for Momo to grow, because that's who Luffy is as a person as well. So I think that's a beautiful moment, beautiful way to wrap this up, and a poetic way to get Momo involved, because I just don't see Momo doing anything fighting wise where he has an active role in the downfall of Kaido. But if he's able to bring one of the saviors of Wano, then yes, that's on him.
And you know what? I'm going to assume that when he does that is when Onigashima will be over the capital, so they can see young Momo flying the savior of Luffy to the top.
Right.
So
I'm completely with that.
So, but that's pretty much everything. We will be back next week because there's another chapter, but there's some videos that me and Christian need to make. So don't worry, we're going to get those to you. Like, how long does Wano last? The Zoro's Conqueror hockey thing. We're going to talk about that. There's a bunch of videos we need to make for y'all. But new chapter next week. But Christian, you're about to say something.
Yeah, the Caribou thing. So Caribou was introduced around the time that Luffy's talking about meat. So I don't think it's going to be anything major. I think this is just Oda reminding us that Caribou is still a thing. And maybe Caribou finds some meat right before, Momonosuke flies off with Luffy and he gives him the meat. Because I don't think that Caribou is being introduced as a malignant force right now. He's saying, like, Luffy, I'm rooting for you. Why are you down here? I need you guys to win. So even
does Caribou join the crew?
No, hell no.
Okay.
At most, at some point, he may become an unofficial fleet member, where we find out that again, he ends up fighting to help Luffy, but I don't see him being cast in a perpetually positive light. He's always going to be this morally gray character, but I don't see a betrayal from Caribou anytime soon. And this actually reflects on Luffy, because when Luffy spoke to Caribou, I forgot what arc, he did trust Caribou to a degree. So I think that Caribou has turned a leaf when it comes to Luffy, but I don't think that he's going to cause any negative ramifications for the Straw Hats in this instance at all.
Hell yeah. Well, that's everything, ladies and gentlemen. Christian, tell the people where they can follow you at on social media.
Twitter is Hollinger94, or Design Season LLC from our alternate art account, and the same thing is going to be the case on Instagram. Although it's going to be Arc Season for my normal account on Instagram. Don't follow Hollinger94.
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all go follow Christian, get some of his art, commission him. He makes great stuff. But we're gonna be back next week. No break. I'm excited. We're gonna keep it going, and I hope we see more Robin Black Maria. Maybe the start of Sanji Queen, but I feel like before we get that, we would have to get Ino and Jack, I would assume.
Yeah, because I mean, they did kind of show a little bit like they were showing with Jinbei and Who's Who and Frankie versus Sasaki. So we know that they've both taken damage, but we haven't really seen anything.
Yep.
And you know, you and I are both of the same thought where once we get into Sanji versus Queen, other than the clashes that we've gotten thus far, it needs to stay on Sanji versus Queen.
Yep.
So I'm okay with Momo taking his time. Like we see glimpses of Luffy trying to get him to turn into, you know, the dragon, but that doesn't happen immediately. Zoro's probably going to be, because again, I think they're going to be going up to the rooftop close to each other because their recoveries seem to be linked close to each other. But I see Zoro getting lost trying to go up the staircase.
While Luffy's trying to get him.
Yeah, so we have time. And in that block, maybe go ahead and, you know, finish out Black Maria and Robin, and then get into Sanji versus Queen, and don't take away from that. Like once we get there,
stay there.
Give it to him. Again, this is mainly because, in my opinion, I understand Sanji is a very nuanced character.
But this is his really first real fight since Enies Lobby.
Exactly. I'm glad you said, because I thought about it. I'm like, dude, Sanji has not gotten a legitimate fight or even a legitimate W, in my opinion, in the New World, period. Like, at all. Like, my favorite scene with Sanji in the New World is when he speed blitzes Oven and saves Chiffon, and like no one sees it except I think Pudding. And it's like, okay, that's a great speed feat, but like, is that the only W that you're gonna really
The last Sanji? Fight's been since Jabra.
That's so bad, in my opinion.
I agree.
So much better than that.
So that's why we got to get this fight.
We have to. And I'm saying, like, I don't even want to see Sanji get hurt, like, for real. Like, I don't even think Queen should be anyone that pushes Sanji that hard. Maybe he puts on the raid suit. You know, I've said this multiple times. I hope he beats Queen in base. I don't even want him to put the raid suit on. But since I don't think Sanji's going to be fighting King, I think he is going to end up putting the raid suit on, especially for the whole mech versus mech scenario, Judge versus Queen scenario. It does kind of make sense. But once we get Sanji versus Queen, stay on that and go ahead and give him his beautiful ass W. And
then let's progress.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's where I'm at.
Well, that means you guys can follow me at LynBWT. Follow the Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe because, like I said, we'll be back next week. But for Christian, my name is Lyn. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, peace.
Peace.